So we're talking about a fire that we've got happening right here at 369 South Orange Street. We've been here since right around 3 o'clock. The fire was fairly significant. There was a lot of black smoke, as many of you have probably seen. It's knocked down considerably. So what we had fire on the outside of the structure, as well as it had propagated to the inside. At this point, we've got the structure itself is under control. There's no more fire inside of the structure. There is still a considerable amount of smoke that's going to continue until we get everything on the outside completely extinguished. The outside, it is the majority of it. It's a combination of wood and electronics. This is part of a recycling operation. And so that's where the nasty smell is coming from, is the plastics and other things that are in that. So as we had advised earlier through our X account, and we mentioned on our earlier interview, if you've got smoke if you're in the smoke, either at your home or near the scene, you need to be out of it. There's no reason to be in it. Stay inside. Try to limit the outside air coming inside, so closing your windows, possibly turning off your air conditioner. If you're in your car, turn off the recycler or turn on the recycler so that it just uses the inside air. The smoke is not good for you. We have now got heavy equipment there helping us turn this material while we apply water, and this is how we're going to continue this firefight at this point. There's not much flame at this point. There's very small amounts of flame. There's plenty of embers. It's going to take a considerable amount of time to get through all of this. But as you can see, the smoke is down a lot. There still is smoke if you're directly downwind from it, but we don't have the production of smoke that we had earlier, which is good for everybody. Orange Street is still closed, but all the other traffic is going okay. We've got a lot of people slowing down to look at the incident. That doesn't really help out anybody. If you can avoid the area, please avoid the area. There's no real reason to be over here and expose yourself to this stuff. Any questions?
Who first reported it to you, and did all the employees, I would imagine there were some employees there, everyone got out okay?
So I have no reports of anybody being injured or being treated for smoke inhalation or anything like that. I don't know how many people or if this was occupied when we arrived. The calls, there were multiple calls. I'm not sure where they were coming from, but we did have multiple calls on this. It was a very large header. People could see it from Davis County. So there was a lot of stuff going on there. So I don't really have an answer to that.
Sorry if you said this. Somebody was coming by and I missed it. How much damage is there?
I don't have that. I don't necessarily know. So this building is, as you can see, all of the structure that was affected looks just like these ones that are behind us. They're concrete on the outside. We did cut some ventilation holes in the roof of that, so there is some damage there. But and there was fire on the inside, so some of the storage and likely some of the structure was damaged, but to what extent I don't exactly know.
Sounded like 3 alarms possibly, and how many personnel do you have here?
Yes, so 3 alarms, and we're looking at least 60 firefighters with support personnel on top of that. So, and we did get some assistance from Unified Fire. They sent a couple of units down here to help out. And obviously we've got Gold Cross units on scene that are there as a standby, both in case we have a civilian injury or firefighter injuries. They're always here helping us out. And then Salt Lake City Police and their support units are here controlling traffic for us.
Is this fire anybody telling folks in the neighborhood to maybe, kind of leave the area for a few hours until the smoke clears, or what's going on over there?
No, so we didn't, that would be an evacuation, and we didn't require or ask for an evacuation at this point. What I did do is with our earlier media, and then as I tweeted out, just to stay out of the smoke if the smoke was in your area. And that's all that, it doesn't matter what kind of fire it is, even a campfire, you don't really want to be breathing the smoke. And so the only advice is if you've got smoke in your area, just to stay out of it. And like I said before, keep your windows closed, try to limit that exposure.
This got really big really quickly. How big of a factor, if any, was the wind? It was crazy out here.
Actually, initially when it started, there was not a lot of breeze, so I don't know that was a factor, but that will be part of the investigation. If anybody noticed initially the plume of smoke, thick black smoke, which indicates some plastics and some oils, those kinds of things, it was going straight up, which was good for everybody. About an hour into it is when the wind started coming out of the northwest, and that's why we saw the plume heading out towards the east. That's not really harming us at this point. In fact, it's helping our tractor operators. They're able to attack it from one side where the wind is at their back. and they're not necessarily firefighters. They're heavy machine operators, and we don't want to put them in the smoke. So this is actually kind of helping us at this point. So what they're doing is it's basically a front end loader, and they're picking up material, turning it over while we're applying water. Because if you can imagine the pile that we're working on, there's a few piles, but they're about 5 to 7 feet deep, and you can't get water to the base of it unless you see the base of it. And so we apply water to the top, then the tractor comes in, flips it over, moves it around, then we apply more water, and we're just kind of stirring the pile. That's essentially how we're using the tractors. Does that make sense?
And no idea of cause at this point.
No, that's just way too early to determine a cause.
And we're just up the road from a little over a year ago, that massive recycling fire with a 100-foot stack of cars. That's basically what's all along this road here, recycling places to a large degree.
There are definitely some, but this is, there's a lot of different businesses out here. I'm not sure what you're asking. We've got a lot of different businesses out here. This is some sort of recycling operation. I'm not familiar with the business personally, so I don't have much information on that.
So it is mainly the recycling versus the storage facilities that are on the south side.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
And then the school, the Detroit district had tweeted out on X, there was some embers and stuff falling on the school. No significant damage to the school. Should school probably still, so they plan on going to school tomorrow?
Yes, I don't know any reason why we would be affecting any attendance at school now or then. Yep. Any other questions?
A few more hours out here? A couple hours?
At least. Yes. So we're nearing the mop-up phase. So I mentioned that there was an under control in the structure. The exterior of the structure, they hadn't determined it under control at the time that I started this meeting. We're really close to that. But that doesn't mean that it's extinguished. There still will be smoke. There still will be embers. There will be some small flames. But the under control is determined when we're confident that it's not going to go anywhere. That we essentially just have to finish. It's called a mop-up, or that's the last phase of our operations, and that takes some time. That's a lot of fine detailed combing through with heavy equipment, small hand tools to get through and make sure that everything is completely out. We will likely have crews on scene. A fire like this typically through the night. Doesn't mean that they will be working, but they will likely be here monitoring and making sure we don't have any flare-ups. Because the pile is not going to disappear, it's going to still be there, and there might be some minor embers that are still burning, and if it starts smoking heavy, then the crews will stay here and they'll work. So we'll have what they call a fire watch, likely through the night. I haven't got that confirmation, but that's as common.
I'm good.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If I determine to do another update, if there's anything significant, I'll tweet it out with more information. I'll tweet out the updated information. If you need another shot with me or something, I'll give you some time on that. I'll give you a timeline on that. Okay?
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What?